Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of The Art Bros, where we talk about art in an informal way to make sure you guys talk about art too. I am joined, as always, with Fancy Dave.
Hey.
And Patrick.
Hello.
And guys, today we are talking about Francis Bacon's painting 1946. Fancy Dave, give me the rundown of this guy, please.
All right, so obviously the title says it's 1946.
Yeah.
All right.
Convenient.
Yep, it's oil and pastel on linen. Let's see, it's 6 feet by 5 inches, roughly 6 feet by 6 inches.
It's pretty big.
Damn.
By 52 inches.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It's at the MoMA.
Yes.
All right.
Here in New York City.
And those are really the objective facts about this painting.
So when we look at this thing, we see the half-hidden face of a figure. There's a huge carcass right over it with its like arms spread, but it's actually split open. So meat all over the place. Very, very weird. Very, very what's like
surreal.
Surreal.
It's like a nightmare.
It is like a nightmare. This is exactly what you see when you can't sleep at night because you just had a terrible dream.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you see. Like you see that in the figure in the corner. Ugh. Anyways, ugh. That's what I think of when I see this. Like, ugh, who could draw this? Who could paint this? And of course, Francis Bacon did this, as he says, automatically. And I think that for me is the most terrifying thing about this is that he originally meant to draw a chimpanzee
And some birds.
and some birds. And he says that he made a line, and that line led to another line, and that line led to another line, and before then, this appeared.
Yeah, I gotta wonder, when you like make this type of like very visceral stuff and like it's kind of surreal and abstract at the same time where there's like clearly some subliminal thoughts going on behind it, like once you're done with it, do you look yourself in the mirror and go like, dude, I gotta go see someone.
What have I done?
Dude, like,
This
oh,
is
man,
like
nuts.
if someone saw this, like, hey, draw freely, and they saw this, they'd be like, you need some help, man.
Yeah. Oh no, they'd run away or something, but yeah.
Fancy Dave, when we were doing the pre-show before, you were talking about that the war. This had just happened. World War II had just
following
happened.
the war.
So this was painted following the war.
Okay.
He says it was subconscious. It was just that wasn't in his.
Yeah. Apparently the whole World War II like tie-in wasn't intentional, according to Francis Bacon himself, from what I found out from other researchers online. But you kind of can't help but like piece that into this painting because what I found out is the clothing. It's like a dark suit, which tended to be like often associated with politicians of
it does look like he's wearing something like a badge of sorts. So I definitely get that like authority figure, the white collar, shrouded in black like a suit. The umbrella over it too, like that is an umbrella, I'm assuming. It's like hiding the figure. It's like just that, it's a face, and having half of it cut and just seeing the bottom half, like it just transforms this figure into like a monster.
Yeah, you can't tell if like the umbrella shadows like obscuring the top of the face or if it's really just missing like that.
Yeah, it's true.
See, I read it as missing. So that's, I never depicted it as a shadow, just because I feel like you can see into the head a little bit, so that's a little bit eerie.
I've always seen it as a shadow, but now you guys are making me rethink this. And you were saying before that it's a politician, it could be a politician, so that gives this foreground area that's like a little caged area. It kind of seems like a podium to me.
Yeah, because there are things that resemble microphones like around them. Apart from the animal carcasses, like surrounding it and the one on top, so it almost seems like he's like speaking out to the masses,
like a
press,
like a press release too, with all the microphones and all there like that. And let's speak about this big carcass that's hanging above it. We're talking about World War II had just happened, a lot of death had just happened, and this got to be in the mind of the artist. So of course you have carcasses hanging like they're in a butcher shop, like slabs of meat, and he's not a stranger to painting slabs of meat.
No, not at all.
He's not. But
or other things.
With the context of a politician in front of it, kind of like, and it's split open like that. Like you gotta think
it's like
death.
It's crucified.
Yeah, exactly. There's a crucifixion going. Patrick, what is like some of the strikingly visual things that you see about this that stay with you?
Okay, well, you had mentioned earlier, you see like a badge on that weird figure. I read it as a flower.
Oh.
So it's like when you're concerning a piece like this, that as far as what I can see, you get like an extremely visceral, like all these warm and kind of like cool colors that are like desaturated, and then you get this decision from Francis to put this little flower, this little daisy on his chest, and it's like the only like colorful piece about it.
Yeah.
And what's really eerie about this is the two words I can use to describe this is like eerily suggestive, because it starts to dabble in like an abstract area when we're talking about like the crucified carcass that's right behind him. You don't really know if you're looking at like half a face or a face in shadow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like suggestion here, but what's even better is suggestion with form as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like through these minimal things we can pick out. It's like, all right, yeah, he's standing on some type of podium. We think those are microphones. There are clearly figures happening in this painting, like this mess of a painting. And then so it's like, the more you look at it, and like it's the more layers that just continue to build on top of one another. So I mean it's kind of a broad question to ask, like what stands out to me, because it's such a heavy painting where it's just like a shotgun blew that guy's head off, and it's blowing off your head trying to understand this painting that's in front of you.
I see it as like, we mentioned it before, a nightmare. Like
perfect.
When we dream, we don't dream like, like we see a movie. We might think we do, but we dream as like in fragments. There's like.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, so like there's fragments going on. Like we're trying to make out some sort of like narrative here. There's a guy making a speech with meat hanging behind him, as absurd as that sounds. But the reality is we have half of a figure, and then we have what looks like could be his legs like up, like way up high by his like where his waist is.
Mm-hmm.
We have the carcass that's way too close to him, but like it's obviously in the back. This little podium thing is too far closer to the viewer than it should be.
It's almost like a flat object, really.
Exactly. So yeah, that fragmentation of the way we dream, I definitely think that's what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and Fancy Dave, what sticks out for you?
What sticks out for me?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a thing you can like make out, like the object you can make out the best, like the subject. It's the person.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going on with his anatomy.
No,
Because
you
you
don't.
just have his torso and part of his head. But then you look at the bottom and you think it's his foot, but it's shifted way too much to the left to make any sense.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's like. Plus, it's like the blackest thing there.
Yeah, and this little black blob in the front that could be that chimpanzee that he was originally drawing.
Mm-hmm.
It just works so well with the rest of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just to wrap things up, this is scary. You see it in person. It's very, very disturbing. It's on linen, which I did not know until today.
Yeah.
If you're in New York, go see it in person. It's definitely worth a look. It's very tall, very big, and it will stay with you. Patrick, any final thoughts on this guy?
My last final thought is there is like this myth behind how people want an artistic perspective on like how artists see things.
Mm-hmm.
Francis Bacon, I do not want his perspective near my head at all. But at the same time, I'm glad it's there because this is so awesome.
Yes, it is. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Art Bros.
Booze.
Art Booze. I'm sorry. Yes. So thank you for joining us for Art Booze. We'll be back next time with another episode. But follow us on Facebook. We're on Twitter, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And give us a comment of what you'd like for us to review. So
Yeah, let people know about the show.
yes.
All right.
So from Mike, Fancy Dave, and Patrick, we will see you guys next time.
Mm-hmm.